Hi and welcome to Rossi Audio. Today it's going to be about cleaning vintage audio gear or used audio gear that you come across and it is either dirty on the outside or inside or maybe even both. Let's start on the outside. Cleaning audio equipment on the outside is fairly easy compared to cleaning it on the inside. There's a lot more precautions that you have to take and when you wash it inside or cleaning it inside. So let's start on the outside, and this goes for electronic components or components and speaker cabinets. Cleaning speaker cabinets is fairly easy. I mean, if it has a cloth cabinet, you can vacuum it or do some foam treatment. If it has stains, you spray it with that foam that sucks up the dirt and the grime and the stains, and you either vacuum it up or wipe it off. That way you're not creating water damage to the wood underneath. When it comes to, let's say, older equipment like the silver-faced ones, it also goes for newer ones, but especially the silver-faced older models. You have to be careful because the print screening and the printing and the lettering on the front plate is kind of fragile, and you can damage it if you use the wrong things to clean it. Steel wool and soap and water is not recommended. My favorite when we're talking about cleaning on the outside, cleaning plastic, cleaning clear plastic or glass, knobs, front plates, the cabinet itself on the sides and the top and even the back of it, has always been one thing, and I swear to this one, I don't use anything else. This is the only thing I use when I clean the front and the top and the sides and the bottom and the back on the outside, and that's the good old Windex. You don't need anything else. Blue Windex is awesome. That's all I use, and what I use with it is paper towels. Bounty, I have figured out that is the best one. You might say, well, paper towel is paper towel. It's not. Some paper towels are so thin and so the structure on them doesn't take water or liquid very good, and it dissolves and it leaves residue and white fabrics behind. I have found out that Bounty, even though it gets wet and even if you use it to like rub back and forth with it, it keeps its integrity and it keeps itself firmer and better longer. I also found out that it is the deep paper towel that leaves the least amount of scratches or visible scratches. So you might say, well, paper towel is paper towel. No, it's not. I have tried the cheap economical version. I tried the blue thing. The blue one that is like 4 layers that they use in automotive. That one's good too, but it's like way more expensive, and it comes on like a 800 foot or 1,000 foot roll. So Windex and a roll of paper towels, Bounty, that's what I prefer. You could sit and you could scrub the front plate for 10, 15, 20 minutes with other liquids and other cleaning solutions. And you go in there with Windex, and 2 to 5 minutes later on, and you have a nice shining front plate without any damage. And it's very, very sensitive to, well, it's not, it's very gentle. Let me put it like that. It's very gentle on the lettering and the printing on the front page. So by doing that, you clean the outside of it way faster than you would with other stuff. And I found out also that Windex is very nice because after you wipe it on and spray it on and wipe it around and you clean it up with another dry cloth, it doesn't leave almost any residue or any like oily surfaces. A lot of the other cleaning solutions out there is some kind of oil based or plant oil based or something like that, and it leaves this film and this greasy layer on top of it. And after a while, and you lift it a couple of times and you touch it, you can see finger marks and dirt comes back way faster. Windex doesn't do that. So that's the outside. What about the inside? Well, you probably heard of Deoxit, and that you can use Deoxit on pod meters and knobs and connectors and soldering points and stuff like that. And yes, you can do that, and that's great. That's what it's made for, and it works perfectly. But I have also found out that if you come across or you get a unit that have been in a home where, let's say, someone smoked over many years, and you have a big layer of nicotine and smoke residue inside of the amplifier, receiver, whatever, that is pretty hard to get off. On the front plate, the Windex takes it off right away, so that's not a problem. On the inside, however, it can be a little bit more tricky because of all the nicks and crannies and corners and tight spaces and stuff like that. So what I normally do when I clean it inside is, of course, take the lid off. You make an assessment of what you need, and you always start by using compressed air. The spray cans with compressed air is okay. It doesn't have a lot of power, and after a while your fingertip gets really sore, and your finger gets exhausted. And of course you use that spray like that and it's gone. So I use that only in a few cases. I use compressor and compressed air. I adjust the PSI a little bit down. You don't want to blast it with 150 PSI. Somewhere between 40 and 80 PSI will do. Don't put it too close to sensitive or fragile parts. And you blow it clean first, get all the dust and the things that comes loose with air, get that out of there first. Then you can go over, and I always use I use a used one normally, a soft toothbrush that has been used, that is kind of like fuzzy on the tip. And that's what I use to get into corners and stuff and gently just rub on things and get things off. And you could use the Deoxit for that too. So after you have blasted it one time with air, go in there. You can either use Deoxit or some other type of electronic chemical cleaner that is like oil free, that doesn't leave any residue. And you just spray the whole thing inside and then go over with compressed air after a minute or so. Just blow that shit out of there. And I have found out that, and then you let it stay for like 48 hours before you hook it up, because you want all the components to be dry. But I found out that takes away like 95% of the smell. You'll still have a little bit of cigarette smell in there, a nicotine smell in there, but not as much. And you especially notice that when you turn it on and it gets warm. If you don't clean it inside and take the cigarette and the nicotine smell away, and you fire it up, you will smell the cigarette smoke and smell out of it. After you clean it the way I said, of course you have to use caution here though. You have to know what you're doing. A lot of that smell is gone. There's maybe like a little bit lingering, and it's not going to go away over time. It will always be there. But a friend of mine is in the process right now, and he have had some very positive outcomes and results from it. It's not definitive yet because he's done 2. He's going to test some more. But he built his own little chamber, and he used a negative ion or ozone treatment. They use negative ion in the car detailing business for cleaning interiors to remove odor and bad smell from cars. And they also do that in houses sometimes. So he built a chamber, an airtight chamber that some air comes in, of course, but after he put the equipment in there and closed the lid up or the door up, and he starts the negative ion treatment, he has said to me, and I can't verify this at this moment, but that's something we'll come back to, that the negative ion treatment, in fact, takes away a lot of the rest of the smell that is in there after you have cleaned it with Windex and Deoxit or another chemical. There's electronic cleaners that you can use. There's so many on my brands on the market. Many different types. So there's CRC and there's there's so many. 3M I think have one. So when you spray the whole thing inside with that electronic cleaner bottle, and you use air to blow it dry, after you have already used it to the air to take all the dust out, because you want to get the dust out first. So after you've done all that, my friend is working on this, call it maybe pressurized chamber with negative ions in it. And he said it works. He has done 2 receivers so far, and he said he couldn't be happier with the result. So that's maybe something we can look into in the future. But for now, I'm going to leave you with and say that Windex is your best freaking friend when you clean audio equipment. And I mean, it's cheap, and you can get it anywhere and everywhere. And even if you buy the value version or the non-generic version, it's the same thing. You know, the blue thing is Windex. And if you want to try it. You will not be disappointed. It will help you out a lot. So until next time, have a great day, guys.